Good evening. One point today, I thought I wasn't going to make it, but here I am. Thank you to all of those who contacted me and messaged me with concerns and well wishes and offers to support me. I'm not sure what really happened. I'm not used to the police knocking on where I live anyway. So here we are. Crazy week, eventful week, and much to talk about and discuss. And hopefully our technology is working again this week, so let's get started.
Do not fear them. Do not fear any of them. On the 20th of November 2003, James Ignatius O'Rourke McMahon was elected councillor for the Failsworth East Ward of Oldham. Deeply ambitious, he ruthlessly rose to power, and by 2011 he was already leader of the council. In 2015, exploiting a Labour Party loophole, he became MP for Oldham West and Royton. If only the people of the town knew then what they now know. Do not fear them. Do not fear any of them. Arud Shah, Abdul Jabbar, Sean Fielding, Shisha Bars, Riaz Ahmed, Buying Sweets, Chohan and Mushtaq, Land on the Cheap, Dr. Carolyn Wilkins, Under Attack, Another No Comment, Shabir Ahmed, Glodic Baths, Debbie Kashmir, On the Run, Don't Dare Complain, They'll Call You a Racist Son. The cartels control the postal votes and the paedophiles run free. Welcome to Oldham, home to corrupt councillors and their childhood criminal friends. And in control of it all, at the top of the tree, Jim McMahon, the samosa nibbling MP. Still silent on how he used the funeral of the butchered soldier, Lee Rigby. Do not fear them. Do not fear any of them. Cartel Town. Grooming gangs. Postal vote fraud. Paedophile protectors. Still barefaced lies. Do not fear them. Do not fear any of them.
Good evening. I see. Just reading the comments. I see we've all embraced the term rabble, and so we should. Wow, rabble. Yeah, I'm happy with rabble. And if we're rabble, what does that make them? I'll leave that to you. Yes. Knock on the door. 3 police officers. No idea what they wanted. They weren't for telling me. So indeed, maybe they did want someone else. So I will first of all put that to the broadcast. But in this increasingly murky space we occupy, I'm more and more paranoid, and where I live is kind of secluded and out of the way, and most of my neighbours are retired, are very professional sort of roles. So a Sunday morning police visit with 3 police officers, I'm not really sure, and if they did want anyone else, I asked a couple of my neighbours, and no one seemed to make any sense of it. But in this COVID world, I wasn't for letting anyone into my house. I can't even have my family in the building, so why would I let someone else, a stranger, particularly if all they said was, "Will the police let us in?" followed by, "You're obstructing the police," or words to that effect. I'm like, yeah. I went back to my breakfast and my coffee and my dressing gown and my slippers, and the old man I've become, I was most disgruntled, not by the police actually turning up the way they did or speaking to me the way they did. I was most disgruntled by the young policewoman who was speaking to me. She was chewing gum while she was snarling at me through from beyond the gates, and the chewing gum offended me more than anything. So what do I know? Okay, before we get going, I am always asked, I've got to do this, and I do need to do this. So if you can, share the post. Let's get this shared to as many places as possible. If you're commenting down the sides and I put you up and it says Facebook user, I'm sorry, that's not my fault. It's the system which set up. I think I put a link up last week. I'm proud of Oldham and Saddleworth that would allow your names to come up. So sorry if that comes on up, but everyone else, your names can clearly be seen. And if you haven't, please donate £1. I'm only asking for £1. Donate £1 a month to the Patreon page. The link is all over my Facebook page. But if you can, I know so many of you watch this every week and read the post I put up. I make nothing from any of this, but I do need some help to keep these transmissions running and to help pay for the subscriptions, really, more than anything else. So please, if you can, donate £1. Okay, let's get on with today. Say a few hellos. Yes, hi, David. How are you? I'm going to put your name up, David, because your name popped up on something else, and I found it disappointing, really, David. Nothing to do with you at all, but I just the way your name popped up on by a certain disgraceful councillor. So yeah, Lee, how are you, Lee? Lovely to see you. I always say hello to Lee because I love that woman dear. Julie, hi. Yes, indeed. We are waiting for the rabble. In fact, Moyab called me or texted me at 7:01. I must have been running late with, are we not going live today? So I am Moyab. I know you've not said hello down the side, but hiya to you for the text message. And yes, David, I'm glad to see I'm not in jail. David, it's been a long time since I've been anywhere near a jail. Last time I was in a prison, I think I was working for the government. I was last time I was in prison. I was meeting prisoners that had dangerous prisoners that had been sent to go and assess. So that's the last time, and I didn't enjoy my experience there, David. So I'm glad I'm not locked up either, as well. So I wouldn't want to be. Hi, Olya. Olya sent me a message the other night, so I thought I'd say hello. And who else? Well, there's loads. Paul's here. Paul was on. Yeah, Paul was on last week. It seems a lifetime ago, Paul, for me. But you're on last week, and I've had such good feedback. So it was a pleasure to have a really sincere man on. So no, and Marilyn, Carol, and yeah, loads of hellos. Sorry, I won't put them all up. But right, let's carry on with where we're going to go. And I want to do this way, I think. Yeah. This man. At some point, you've got to start questioning what his motives are. And I am starting to believe that his motives are to shift the focus away from what is taking place in this town, so that these guys and their report can go unscrutinized. So I think he's been brought in to cause chaos. That's my honest opinion on him. He's a scumbag, and I've seen him. And I'll tell next screenshot will show you why I think he's a scumbag. But he's a malicious blogger. He's a liar, and I have had it confirmed to me. Confirmed, and let me just put my picture up there. I've had it confirmed to me that senior members of the Labour Party are sharing his articles with each other, and no doubt to others. So my suspicions are, it's very clear who's brought this guy in. So here's his latest new and exclusive. I hear he put it on Twitter, and the only people who tweeted it and retweeted it was himself in his various guises. So here we go. Latest new and exclusive post. As net closes on Oldham's political activist. One, I'm not a political activist at all. And self-styled recusant. Well, seeing as though it's an unfamiliar word, Neil, I was happy to take on the banner of the term recusant. And I don't know about being self-styled, but you carry on, you numpty, because this man is a bully. And this is what bullies do. bullies pick on people. And here's Rocky. And I love Rocky. I speak to her regularly, offline and online. And here you go. Rocky is being intimidated by Neil. Rocky has reported Neil to the police, if I'm right. There you go. See, Rocky, I preempted you. Yeah. Wilby is a psycho. He threatened me. Yes, Rocky, I believe he did threaten you. But you know what I find more worrying, Rocky, is the platform that this pro-Oldham Council, pro-Sean Fielding individual is being given by Oldham Heart, which present themselves as a let's clean up late at Oldham and let's get rid of the Labour Party. So why is Paul Taylor giving this man a platform, particularly when Paul Taylor was so, it was obvious to me, he was so chuffed with himself when Neil Wilby announced I was in the magistrates, and he started pretending it was some tennis match and stuff and posting about it. Didn't you, Paul? Yes, he did, Paul. I saw those exchanges. Some people had sent to me, because I've got this numpty Neil Wilby blocked. So people had sent to me, and I saw the exchanges. But Paul, how about you get to a point where you accept that this man is nothing but a liar? He's a malicious blogger, and he actually wants nothing for the people of our town. Does he? No, but you enjoy giving him a platform for your own warped whatever's going on in your brain, mate. So you carry on doing that, and the people who post an Oldham Heart will soon suss you out. Because this man is nothing but a bully, and he has threatened multiple individuals for nothing more than standing up for themselves. And sorry, Kel, ignore him, don't give him airtime, he's irrelevant. No, because he isn't irrelevant, because the Labour Party are pushing him, other people are pushing him, and I promised myself, Kel, 3 years ago, I promised myself, because people said, oh, let them swing at you, let them do this, it's not true, we'll get on with it. And that was regarding the schools I was involved in. So I kept my gob shut, thinking that perhaps if I kept my gob shut, stuff would blow over and the kids would continue to be educated in those schools because I'd done nothing wrong. And you know what? No, bullies don't work like that. Bullies don't go away. Bullies need putting in their place. Yeah, don't you, Neil? You're a bully, because that's what you are. He reported you for being an extremist. I think this man's an extremist. And I think he's a liar. And I'll show you why I think he's a liar. Now, let's carry on. So, this is the first thing in his article. He picked up on his engagement with this Samantha Walker Roberts. Now, I know Sam. She's fallen out with me, and I'm not interested in her falling out with me. I don't want anything to do with her associates, so I blocked her. And then she started texting me, and the texts were getting more aggressive, so I blocked her on phone as well. I'd never blocked anyone on the phone, so I had to work out how to turn on how to block someone who has your phone number. But I blocked her on the phone as well. So here we go with his nonsense. Sam went to meet with him. Sam, you were played sweet. Did this man have any interest in what had happened to you? Did he ask you anything about what took place? No, not at all. Did he? He wanted to twist things so he could attack me. Why did he not ask you, Sam? Why has this inquiry not spoken to you, even though you're in the terms of reference? Did he ask? Did he write about any of that? No. He wanted to write about me. And he goes on with himself that somehow the meeting only took place after local police were involved to ensure that a safe space could be created for Samantha. And to a much lesser extent, myself, as if anyone's going to waste their time slapping you, Neil. No one's interested in slapping you. Their response was speedy, appropriate and professional. So here he's insinuating that somehow the police facilitated a meeting. The police never facilitated a meeting, did they, Neil? You're just talking up nonsense. This was considered necessary because on the previous evening, Raja Mir had made public the intended meeting as part of an incessant smear campaign with which he appears to be currently obsessed. The only one obsessed is you, Neil, and you're obsessed. This isn't even your town. These aren't your people. You're not even interested in any of this. You're just interested in causing disruption. That's true, isn't it? And Oh, against a background of sustained, highly personalised abuse being directed at me. Highly personalised abuse? You're the one who started off calling people rabble. You're the one who started off calling the people of Oldham rabble. So give over, Neil. If the people of my town have told you to do one in as creative language as they see fit, you brought that on yourself. Yeah. And of course, he's lied. This was considered necessary because on the previous evening, Raja Mia had made public the intended meeting. Let's play this. To meet one of the victims who has been texting me, and I blocked her. I'll be honest with you. She's Sam. She's called Sam. I wrote about her on the stuff on the webpage, Sam's story. It's one of the first ones, and I blocked her because she's now a friend with Irish Yimmy, and for her own good, I blocked her actually because I didn't want them accessing me through her, so I blocked her. And someone phoned me last night and said she was meeting Neil Wilby, so she's arranged to meet Neil Wilby on Monday. So you can see my response to her. Someone mentioned it to me, and I checked with Debbie, who confirmed it. You're a grown woman. You're old enough to make your own decisions. With a thumbs up. Is there any offence in that comment? Anyway, this was her response. You're a grown man. You can take it if I punch you in the face, you hypocrite. So, good luck, Sam. You chat to Neil Wilby all you want. I feel for you, and I'll never fall out with you, and I'll never say a bad word about you. And I'm not going to argue with you. You've gone through enough in life. So there you have it. That is what I said last week. And this is what he's saying there. That somehow I'd said or done something that that made it necessary for the police to become involved. Yeah. Just unbelievable, isn't it? I mean, absolutely unbelievable what these people are up to. And they've been going at it for ages because this is no different than what's took place before with Fielding, with calling us far right, or with Arud Shah calling me a misogynist, or with whatever happened before with, was it Fielding who wanted a serious fraud squad involved? All of this name calling, and yet here I still am. And I'm not breaking any laws. All I am doing, you don't have to listen to this if you don't want to. The Thursday night, he tried to shut down the Thursday night sessions. The Thursday night sessions are Zoom meetings. They're private meetings. Since when did someone think, and a member of the press at that, a member of the free press, trying to shut down private conversations between groups of friends? Yes, David, I've seen you question Neil Wilby or someone told me, I'm appreciative. And I bet you've got no response. You've got no response because it's a blatant lie. Yeah, put up what I've said. It's there. And here he goes, he's lied. So I hope the police come and speak to me. Yeah, if they want to come and speak to me about this. But it gets more devious than just on this. And I'll get back to Sam later because I promised myself never again would I allow myself to be ever put in a position where I take flack having never done anything wrong, and it's a promise I will keep to myself. And I'm sorry if it offends people, but at some point I need to protect myself. So here we go. He carries on with his stuff around Debbie Abrams, and I put up what I think of Debbie Abrams, and I've submitted a complaint to the police, and we'll see what happens there or what doesn't happen there. But it doesn't matter. I've put that forward. So. And then he goes on with what has been experienced over the past 10 days goes far beyond that and is perceived to be a campaign very much intended to cause distress and alarm. The only place he's being caused distress and alarm is on the Oldham Heart page, where I am not a member, where I do not post. I've blocked him, so he can't see anything I post. So if people are questioning him, like you, David, and others, if people are questioning him and he doesn't like that, then that's between him and them. And if it was that much hassle, if it had caused him that much alarm, why is he returning to post on that page? It doesn't stack up, does it? Because he wants to present this thing that somehow I am a criminal and the people associated with me are rabble, which is repeatedly claimed. Rabble. When you call the people of my town rabble, if I'm honest, I think you're fortunate you've not called them that to their face, because I think in the places where I was raised in Oldham, if you were that offensive to someone, sooner or later someone would have just slapped him in the face. So he can carry on calling us rabble if he wants, but he goes on with himself, and he goes on with himself around this CSE cover-up campaign, and that somehow it's something that I've just said. How many of you listen in, and even in the town hall, I know, even in the town hall, I know. Brian Hoban, for instance, other councillors, the Conservatives, the Lib Dems even have written a letter previously. They are all sceptical and have serious concerns and expressed these concerns about the grooming gang inquiry. This isn't just me. And he goes back up with Sam, and I'll get to that Sam bit in a moment. She disclosed to him at their meeting that her lawyer was going to advise on the merits of a privacy data breach claim against Raja Mia, as she has no recollection of giving permission for her story to be published on the Recusant 9 website. She cannot trace any messages either where such permission was either sought or given. And he goes on to somehow claim that I'd disclosed Sam's name and stuff. And I'll show people the truth, and people can see for themselves. And here we go. All right. And of course, he claims some inside knowledge that the Burnham report is about to be published. Now, if he knows that Burnham's report is about to be published, he knows more than I do. And I'd like to know where he gets that. And because they've not made an announcement. Sean Fielding's not made an announcement. Oldham Council hasn't. Andy Burnham hasn't. In fact, I spoke to a couple of the witnesses this week, which I will now make reference to. You'll see Hugh MacDonald's name there. And it is anticipated that my own findings of the merit of the Mia allegations and the background to them will be published within the next week or so. Yeah, you go for it. Raja ground his campaign that only began in the autumn of last year. Hold on. Only began in the autumn of last year. Do you see what these people do? Only began. I raised the issue as soon as I became aware of the issue. It's not my job to raise the issue of grooming and gang rape of children in our town. It's the council's issue to do that. Yeah. And he makes some reference to, and I think this is interesting, this bit is interesting. He goes on about the schools, but this bit is interesting because it's the first I heard. He makes reference, and right at the bottom, and the grooming of safeguarding failures and the grooming of a 14-year-old girl at one of the schools. Do you see that? Safeguarding failures and the grooming of a 14-year-old girl at one of the schools. Now, that Tahir Mushtaq tried this, where when he started his stupid campaign that got him absolutely nowhere apart from in trouble with his father, from what I've heard. Guys, I'm not interested in 14-year-old kids, and I'm definitely not interested in failing 14-year-old kids. I've never safeguarding failed anyone. Anyway, what I did after hearing this was I phoned up the head teacher of the school it was most likely to be, where any 14, because of the way Collective Spirit was shut down. It was shut down when kids only got to year 10, I think, or our involvement finished when it was took over. So the only 14-year-olds really was at Manchester Creative Studio. So I phoned the former head teacher there. He's a friend of mine. We get on. We work together still. He's having a great time these days. He's Pete. He sells gin, and and bottles, and he's never been happier. So I phoned him up and said, Pete, what's this about? He goes, oh yeah, that was long after you'd gone, Raj, but I'll tell you what happened. Because Manchester Creative Studio got basically all the kids that no one else wanted. It was like a year 10 entry point. And it was all the kids who were either school refusers and stuff. There was this young woman, and I won't give you a name or anything, but this young woman, and I had nothing to do with it. I'm sure she wouldn't know me if she saw me in the street. And she was apparently being groomed by a number of Asian men from South Manchester, and the school, becoming immediately concerned, reported it to the Lado, phoned the police, and went to all of the various meetings that took place. And the school were so concerned by the lack of action that they became increasingly frustrated and made their frustrations known, that the authorities were not taking any action to safeguard this 14-year-old child, to the point where Pete one day put this child in his car and drove her home because they were concerned that she was going to be picked up by some Asian men. And remember, this was a 14-year-old child. She was going to be picked up by some Asian men to be taken to a party. So I'm not sure what he's saying there, but what he's saying there couldn't be any further from the truth. No, I can't swear. I promise her. Do you see what these people are up to? Do you see the mischief they're up to? Yeah. And Pete, you don't have to speak to me about it. There was a head teacher involved. There was a safeguarding officer. I think it was a deputy head teacher at the school, a guy called Chris. They were both involved, and I'm sure there's case files and all of those things. And I had one. Not only did I have anything to do with it, but two, those teachers did the best they could to safeguard those children in an absolutely identical way to what many teachers did in Counthill School in Oldham, because I've been told from the mother of one of the victims that the teachers at Counthill School were aware of the grooming of children, of white working class girls at their school. So that's me saying it to this camera. The teachers at that school were aware. Which brings me to this inquiry and this investigation. Now, Kaiser sent me this over. And Kaiser sent this over, I think this morning, but he spoke to me about during the week. Now, Kaiser's had a yo-yo relationship with this Burnham's inquiry. First of all, he gave his evidence, remember? And when he gave his evidence, when it got back to him, it was all names had been changed and things had been omitted, and he withdrew. And they got back in touch with him to say, let's try again. And they scheduled a meeting, and when they scheduled a meeting, they never turned up. So here's part 3. Yes, Marilyn. That's why I promised myself, never again will I remain silent and allow this to anyone to do anything like this to me again. So yeah. So Kaiser, this is the thing that's interesting with Kaiser's thing. Let me take myself off. You don't need me on this. I want you to see the screen. Our interviews are confidential, and we do not disclose their contents to third parties. However, we have been advised by Greater Manchester Police that in this instance, they are undertaking a criminal investigation in which you may be a suspect. We thought it would be prudent to advise you that in these circumstances, it is possible that you may ask us to release a record of our interviews in due course, or the courts may require, through an order, that we release any records we hold in respect of you. This is worrying. Now, the reason why this is worrying, and I'll just bring myself back on the screen. The reason why this is worrying is, one, we may ask to release a record of our interviews. Guys, you've not been conducting any interviews, or your records are not fit for purpose. because you're writing whatever notes you want to write down. So first of all, whatever you're writing down is not fit for purpose. But secondly, this is a bit, all of this data protection breaches, this is a council. Andy Burnham's investigation is a council investigation. It's not a police investigation. So how is it that Greater Manchester Police has informed a council? It's not even an investigation, a council inquiry. How is it that Greater Manchester Police have informed a council inquiry that they may be undertaking a criminal investigation in which Kaiser may be a suspect? Just work that through. Why is the police informing a civil inquiry? Oh, this witness that you've got, we may be investigating him, and what we may be investigating him for may be criminal. Who is leaking information there? Is it Newsman and Ridgway? Have they spoke to the police? Or have the police gone and said, oh, let's have a look at who you're going to be interviewing? This is a massive breach of GDPR. Absolutely, are you? This is disgraceful. The man hasn't been questioned. The man hasn't been interviewed. The man hasn't been charged. Yet here it is, that it appears that he's under some secret surveillance. What's going on? Someone tell me what's going on here. You know what Kaiser did? He told him to get stuffed. He's not giving any further evidence. Would you? No. In light of this possibility, we would advise you to seek your own legal advice before taking part in this interview. Since when was giving evidence on the grooming and gang rape somehow twisted back round onto you? You know what this is? They didn't like what Kaiser had to say in the first place. And what that Kaiser had to say in the first place involved the complete failure of the council to properly investigate what took place when he uncovered what he suspected to be a young man making a series of serious sexual allegations against a senior councillor. Karen, you haven't seen anything yet for the breach of GDPR, sweet. Just wait a minute, and you'll see what I get to. You haven't seen anything yet. So that's Kaiser, and I need to do this. So I apologise to Samantha beforehand. This is nothing personal, but for whatever reason, Samantha, you've decided you want to attack me, and I am now forced to defend myself. So here we go. Samantha claims she has no recollection of supporting my article and all of that, and implies that somehow she wasn't involved. That I'd leaked her name. I mean, that's what the implication is from Wilby's article. I have put a link up just now. It'll appear on the comments pages for you to look at. That is a Google document that Samantha put up herself, which is this letter to Sean Fielding, where she names herself and clearly says that she's giving up her right to anonymity, and she comes out. So this was done in tandem with the article, because in the lead up to the article, Sam's story, I and her husband were talking to each other, which is what led to the ITV story. Excuse me. It's what led to the ITV story at the time on Granada Reports. So Sam is making stuff up. Sam also, as soon as I posted the article on the 24th of November 2019, and that's when it was posted, shared it to multiple other platforms herself. And then what she did, and this is the 24th of November commentary, and it's still on my it's still on my Facebook page. I've not changed any of that. Here is Sam commenting on it. 19 likes and love hearts. Let's cross fingers that telling my story and all the fuck-ups will bring justice. Yeah, so let's go back to this, so we're very clear. Samantha, it was disclosed to me at our meeting, has asked her lawyer to advise on the merits of a privacy data breach claim against Raja Mia, as she has no recollection of giving permission. Sam, how about we have an honest conversation about why I've blocked you? You picked up on a relationship with Irish Shimmy, who got in touch with you. I clearly want nothing to do with this man. Your husband got irate at what was taking place. You then left. Sorry. I should have my picture, my name up here. You then left your husband. Tell me at what point I've got this wrong, Sam. You've left your husband after you picked up with having these conversations online with these other guys. Your husband then commits suicide. That's right, isn't it? Your husband then commits suicide. I like the guy. I had a lot of time for the guy. I put my condolences up on his page and all the rest of it. If it wasn't COVID, I would have gone to his funeral. But he commits suicide, Sam. And from what I hear, and there's no one here, no one you know that I know has shared this with me. You've now got a wad of life insurance money. Your children have been took off you and they're in in the care of social services. And you've entered into some form of business arrangement with one of these Pakistani guys. Now you make whatever decisions you want in your life, Samantha. But don't work at attacking me or being a pawn for this guy Neil Wilby and his mate Sean Fielding and coming and attacking me, because you won't like me defending myself. Because this is me defending myself. I won't have it that you're somehow presenting me as some sort of person who's manipulated victims, because I haven't. So you carry on doing whatever you want to do with the life insurance money, and it is my hope that those children, once they get to an age where they can make their own decisions, get to inherit some of that. Because your husband was a lovely man and I had time for him. And the reason why I think Wilby is doing all the things he's doing is this. They are desperately wanting to distract away from what really has taken place. There's been a cover-up. There's clearly been a cover-up in Manchester. Look at this girl. Her diary. The council had to release her diary recently, pretending that they were never trying to hide it. Anyone who read the story will know what's going on. And now the council are trying to, they've ended up in a legal fight with their grandma, who they're claiming isn't the grandma. Maggie Oliver's clear it's the grandma. Everyone who reads it knows it was her grandma, just because she wasn't a blood grandma. For a part of my life, and I'm not at all embarrassed of sharing this, for a part of my life, my auntie raised me, My father died when we were young, and my mother had a breakdown. My auntie was the woman next door. That's how working class communities worked and do work. She raised me, my brother, and my younger sister. And if anyone ever asks, and if anyone ever looks on that relationship, that woman was my auntie. They are hiding. They are still hiding. They're still involved in cover-ups. There's more to come out on this young girl's story. And whatever these two Muppets are doing in Oldham with their investigations, where they're not recording testimonies properly and not using tape recorders, that's it. I had an indirect and direct conversation with Hughie MacDonald this week. And I'll share that. Warren phoned me, as Warren does. And I never get much sense out of Warren on his messages, so I phoned him back, and I didn't get enough sense out of Warren on his messages. So I phoned, I just phoned Hughie up, and I explained to Hughie, I've not contacted you. And Hughie understood. He understood straight away and agreed with me. He understood and agreed with me. He understood that I hadn't contacted him because I did not in any way want to influence how we engaged in the investigation of in Burnham's inquiry. And I did not want to sway him in any way. But now that it got to an outcome, I felt it was an opportune time to speak to him. And he agreed. And we spent half an hour or so over going through his experiences of this investigation inquiry, and I took some notes at the time, and I'll read them to you. So in the first week in March was when he gave his testimony, and when he was there was no typing of the conversation, so there was no one there like in the courts where they type every word for word. And someone was taking notes. There was no tape recorder. And the guy who was taking notes was a man called Paul Harris. And Paul Harris took the notes, and 4 months went by. And during that 4 months, without Hughie hearing anything about what his testimony, he sent out 2 reminders to Paul Harris, and he also copied in a guy called Kevin Lee, who's who's Burnham's main guy. He's the sort of top civil servant, Kevin Lee, in the Greater Manchester Combined Authority. So that was what took place. Now, what Hughie said at the time he was giving testimony, remember, where they were quick to say, even though the terms of reference are restrictive, the investigation will go wherever the evidence leads them. Hughie is a 37-year time-served magistrate. He was clear with me that the investigation was going because they were directing the questions where they wanted them to go. So even though they were directing the questions where they wanted them to go, a vastly experienced, confident professional as Hughie MacDonald was able to maneuver the conversations to where he wanted them to go. Now put yourself in the position of a victim. A victim would not be able to do that. There's just no way. They would only answer the questions that were asked, and they would leave frustrated. Now, because Hughie had maneuvered the conversations to discuss events and issues that perhaps these guys didn't want, is why I think his testimony came back with full of errors and omissions, the same as Kaiser's. Now, what Hughie did, being Hughie, and Hughie believes in the system. He's a believer in the system, and Hughie sent back corrections. So he amended what he was sent and sent back corrections. And that's what's been going on with his testimony, where now finally they've sent it back to him. And these are his words. Raja, it's more or less fair. What I said is now more or less there. So they've been manoeuvred. They've been forced to a position with Huey where they've now got to include what he said. Now, when this inquiry report comes out, as individuals, as people, as members of the public, should we not know how many people were interviewed? How many have withdrawn? How many refused to be interviewed? That's not me trying to sabotage an investigation. How can I be sabotaging an investigation? I'm the one who stuck my neck out and wanted this. Right at the beginning, these people wanted me put in prison. They wanted legal action against me because I'd spoken out of how the funeral of Lee Rigby was used to cover up grooming gangs in this town. And then one thing led to another and led to another. And now we find out victim after victim after victim has come forward. So that's where Huey MacDonald is. Kaiser Rahman has refused, and you've seen why he's refused. Now these are politicians. These are people who are professionally skilled in engaging in conversations and providing testimony and vice versa. What would a victim do? Do you think a victim's got any chance? Do you think this kid had any chance? Hi, Liam. We'll have to get you on one day, Liam. You're based Tameside way, aren't you? I know you follow us, and you've always been supportive, and I'm grateful for that, Liam. And we will, if you want, get you on and just give your take on it, just from a near neighbour, what you think is going on here. There you go. There you go, Warren. Yeah, you did call me. You know, I did ring you, or you ring me. No, in fact, no, Warren. I rang you back. You sent me a message, and I rang you back. Is how it was, how it went. But it was we spoke, didn't we, Warren? And then I had a conversation with Huey. It was my first conversation with Huey since the investigation began, and I didn't want to have a conversation with Huey until he'd got to an outcome himself. Yeah, I've seen that. I'll watch it. I'll try and watch it. I've never watched Loose Woman. I think I've only flicked it in passing. I don't really watch TV at all, so I'll have to find a way of watching it because I don't even have an aerial in my house, so it's not something I do. So I'm sure Maggie or someone will put it up on Facebook, and I'll get a way of watching it. But this is what I think it's all about: the entire Neil Wilby thing, the entire stuff to do with Sean Fielding, and all the craziness. It's to try and get away from any of us focusing on this report that's due out any day now, apparently. So we'll see what that looks like when it comes out. Which takes me to Brian Hoban, who just texted me just before we started, and he'd put a post up on Facebook, and I suggest everyone head over and have a look at Brian's post there. There's a way of me bringing it up on my screen. I will do, but you probably want to go and have a look at that at some point. I will share it afterwards, but I want to give people an update on where we are with the council and Brian Hoban. But I just want to play this video first. Some of you may have seen it, some of you may not, but I need a 2-minute break, and you guys, I want to bring you to speed of how we got to where we got to with Brian. So have a watch of this.
This is the time to stand up now. We can't carry on like this.
Bickley, John Joseph, UK Independence Party, UKIP, 6,487. McMahon, Jim, Labour Party, 17,200.
The allegations and claims made online are barefaced lies, designed purely to... I'll say that again, are barefaced lies. The allegations and claims made online are barefaced lies, designed purely to... I'll say that again, are barefaced lies. The allegations and claims made online are barefaced lies, designed purely to... I'll say that again, are barefaced lies.
I think it's important to record that Rob Blythe worked hard for the people of Shaw. He spoke up for his constituents on issues that mattered to them and mattered to his colleagues, for example on crime and antisocial behaviour in our town centre, against the administration's plans to close our local swimming baths and tip, and most recently against the Greater Manchester Spatial Framework proposals to build 3,000 new houses on the green belt surrounding Shaw and Crompton. And I'd just like to say, Mr Mayor, and thank you for the opportunity, on behalf of the many people whose lives he helped and his support as a colleague and a friend, a very sincere and big thank you. And I'd just like to say, Mr Mayor, and thank you for the opportunity, on behalf of the many people whose lives he helped and his support as a colleague and a friend, a very sincere and big thank you. And big thank you.
The allegations and claims made online are barefaced lies, designed purely to... I'll say that again, are barefaced lies. The allegations and claims made online are barefaced lies, designed purely to... I'll say that again, are barefaced lies. The allegations and claims made online are barefaced lies, designed purely to... I'll say that again, are barefaced lies. The allegations and claims made online are barefaced lies, designed purely to... I'll say that again, are barefaced lies. The allegations and claims made online are barefaced lies, designed purely to... I'll say that again, are barefaced lies. The allegations and claims made online are barefaced lies, designed purely to... I'll say that again, are barefaced lies.
This is the time to stand up now. We can't carry on like this.
Okay, so that's where we are. That's where we are with all of this. So I'm going to see if I can get this bit working, and I wanted to put your comments up, but I've lost something. Anyway, never mind. So there you go. That's how we got to here. We got to here because it became a tipping point when Rod Blythe, the councillor, was arrested and charged of sexual offences against children and was later convicted and placed on the sex offenders register for 10 years as a consequence. And they, including Charlotte Green and her friends at the MEN, failed to report on it. And you saw that article I put up there, or the headline I put up by The Revolution, which has its antenna on the top of Oldham Council, and it's linked to the Oldham Times and all of those, and they're all connected. Where I think Jim McMahon now does an article there. He might as well, he writes it anyway, from what I can tell. So I don't know why he needs his own special article on there, but he, even they, when they reported on it, failed to say what he'd done. Didn't use the word children. Yeah. So there you have it. These guys are absolutely disgraceful. They covered it up. The council hid from the public that one of their councillors, and he was at the time a councillor, was charged for child sex offences. And you expect, or anyone expects to trust this council to have any role in an inquiry? No. And that's why Brian Hoban spoke out. That's why the Conservatives spoke out. And this is my understanding of where it's up to. So there's a council meeting, is it on the 4th or the 5th of November? Which is interesting. Not just because the bonfire night reference. Unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on which side you're on, they're not in the Civic Centre. So Guy Fawkes is will not be of any use to any of us. But what took place is the Conservatives have seconded his motion, so his motion will have a chance to be aired, and we can all watch it on that Muppet show of the Zoom council meetings. So we can all watch it there. Now, the way this plays out is to have a recorded vote. To have a recorded vote, it now needs, and this is because they've been changing the constitution all the time. Remember, they've changed the constitution to prevent people from asking questions on the conduct of councillors. So what now needs to happen is 6 people have got to openly back the motion to have a recorded vote. So it's been proposed and second. That's so it's got to be the proposer plus 5 others. Now there are only 4 Tories, and there's Brian Hoban, so they've got 5, and they're 1 short. And all that's been asked is for councillors in our town that we put there. All that's been asked is for councillors to stand up and say, I am not scared. I am not intimidated. I am happy for my constituents, for the people that elected me, to know which way I voted. That's all that's been asked. And it seems we might come up short, and we won't get that 6th councillor. And I know I pick on him, and I pick on him because he chose to enter this space. So people like Sam Al-Hamdani, the Lib Dem, he stood to be MP, didn't he? He's the president or chairman of the Lib Dems in Oldham. Sam, are you going to sit on your hands? Are you going to vote with Brian and the Conservatives so that the people of our town can see which councillor votes which way? So none of this secret nonsense. So we can see, so the people of this town can see which councillor votes which way. Are you going to do that, Sam? How about some of the Labour people? How about you, Hannah Roberts, or any of you? No. Surprise me, because I don't think you will. And I think every one of you hate what's going on here. And what's going on here is very, very clear. Our entire town is watching. And our entire town knows who is telling the truth and who is telling barefaced lies.
Do not fear them. Do not fear any of them.
Okay, moving on. I was meant to have a guest on, but unfortunately I haven't got a guest on for 2 reasons. One is I rearranged after this morning because I did not expect to actually be here this evening. And the second reason, this Abdul is on the run, and there's no other way of describing it. Abdul is running from the cartels. He's had to give up his job. The police apparently have been in touch with him. He's thrown away his phone and got a new phone, and he is on the run because he exposed, I didn't expose it, I shared his post at the time. He exposed how the cartels were manipulating the council grants and how politicians were fast-tracking cartel applications for multiple £10,000 grants and loans for the COVID stuff. And he exposed that. And after he exposed that, his life has been hell. So I've not been able to get him on this week for those two reasons, but hopefully he'll come on soon. And he will come on soon. He's a brave man. He just needs to find his feet wherever he's gone to. And I think what's very clear when Abdul put that up is I have very few open supporters from the Asian communities. You'll see the Recusant 9 posts or the Raj Amir posts. My old friends will say hello that I grew up with, but very few people from the Asian community will come out and support any of the issues I raise in public. Not because they're not supportive, but because they're scared. It's as simple as that. They're scared. They're scared of the cartels, and they're scared of the powerful associations the cartels have with the politicians, and it seems, by inference, the police. So they are scared of all of that. So Abdul, I think, was very brave. What he said was accurate because within hours, the council web page had changed, where previously it clearly specified 1 grant per property, and it had changed, and they changed that. So that's where that's up to. I'm going to try and put this up, Dougie, because it's Brian Hobin's post. I know it's loads. I've never posted anything this big on the screen, so let's see what it looks like. There you go. That's not bad. You can see that. If anyone wants to give me a call on Messenger, by all means, give me a call on Messenger, and I'll bring you up on the screen and we can have a chat. So I'm presuming if you're friends with me, you can give me a call, and if you're not, well, tough. You should follow the page and send me a friend request. I think I said yes to most people whose account look anything like normal. Dougie, opportune, fire, good time in that. Let me bring this up. This is from Councillor Fielding in his official capacity as leader of Oldham Council. Attacking Mark. This is his email. This is a copy of his email. I won't go through all of it, but here you go. I am concerned about Mr. Wilkinson's intolerant behaviour online, relaxed attitude to bullying, and affiliation and sympathies that he has demonstrated for the far right. Here is, remember I've shared the one about Jane before? Well, Jane's gone to the police. And I shared how proud I was of watching Jane sat in the police station, because I was there for a separate matter and I'd never met Jane before. And her refusal to be intimidated and her refusal to leave. Well, Jane now has a crime reference number. And my understanding is that crime reference number is for harassment. I'm sure we'll escalate it, but it's for harassment. Excuse me while I just get my breath. Yeah, it's for harassment. Now, Mark has also complained as a consequence of this, because this is evidence. Once again, official council email. And he goes on about the far right. Kaiser. Kaiser, have you called me because you... No, it wasn't working. So, Sorry, I'm trying to get rid of Kaiser's call and it's just bleeping away. So, ringing. Kaiser, how are you? I can't see you or hear you, Kaiser, but you've done something to my phone, so I'm going to have to hang up on you and maybe call you back, all right? Oh, heck. What's going on with this? Okay, we'll call Kaiser back shortly. So let me get rid of that and bring up what I had. Mark Wilkinson. So let me bring up Mark's thing. Oh, Kaiser. Kaiser, you're not going to be able to call me without me calling you back. So just because it's not working. It's just the way it's synced. Oh, just bear with me 1 minute whilst I disconnect whatever's going on. Sorry, just bear with me. It's clearly an issue with my phone, so I'm just going to turn off my machines for a second. It's the joys of having a dozen things connected at the same time. So just bear with me and I will make sense of it. Okay, I'm just turning on my my iPad again because I want to carry on with the. Yes, I know he should just call my phone, Debbie, but he's Kaiser. Since when did Kaiser ever do anything in a simple way? And yeah, anyone who knows Kaiser will know I have nothing but love, bud, for the boy. In the same way, you would, yeah. Let me bring this back up. I want to carry on with this, and I'll phone Kaiser back in a little while. Okay. Sean Fielding contacted Mark Wilkinson's employer, claiming he has demonstrated sympathies for the far right. Now, I think we need to be very clear on what we mean by the far right. The far right isn't someone who might call someone a nasty name or anything like that. The far right are the Nazis. The far right are neo-Nazis. They are the sorts of people that want to get rid of people like me. They want to get rid of gay people. They hate women. The far right have a series of horrendous and intolerable views. So he's claimed this, first of all. And then he attacks me, predictably. Goes straight to attacking me. In the past, he has posted about the sex abuse cover-ups himself by sharing a post by an individual called Rajamir. Again, an individual called Numpty is my name. Rajamir's social media activity is, this is the bit where Sean Fielding should be arrested and prosecuted for not harassment, not malicious communication, which is my understanding of what is now being investigated as a consequence of Mark and Moyib's complaints to the police, crime reference numbers. Here he is making reference that I am currently being monitored as part of Operation Hexagon. due to a campaign. Now forget all of that. Forget all of that for a minute. It wouldn't matter. Now, this is my position on this. And I think people need to understand and make sense of this. If the police have been monitoring anything I have been doing as part of a police operation and seen fit to give this operation a name, Hexagon, here, that is a matter for the police. The police, and I'm looking, and so we're clear, and I want to put my face on, so we're clear, and I know GMP look at this, so we're clear. The police should not be disclosing details of any investigation to a numpty like Sean Fielding. The police are completely out of order, and if they have done that, the police have acted unlawfully. If I am subject to a police investigation that I don't even know about, then how dare they tell a politician in the town hall? How dare they? And Sean Fielding should be prosecuted by the police for misconduct in public office, because he has disclosed to a third party, who is then disclosed to Mark, that I am subject to a police investigation that's been codenamed Operation Hexagon. What is this? Some Eastern European dodgy dictatorship? Something that goes on in South America? What is this? You watch my shows, police. I know you do. Defend that. And if I'm shouting, it's because I'm angry. How dare you? How dare you? If I've done anything unlawful, you would have arrested me by now, because I've been doing this for over a year. When did the police disclose to Sean Fielding that I am subject to an investigation, to an operation called Operation Hexagon? And what gave Sean Fielding the right to then take that somewhere else? And if he's took that somewhere else, where else has he took that? I've written to the council solicitor about this, and I wrote to the council chief executive about this. The deputy chief executive, Helen Lockwood, wrote back. She told me she'd seen my letters and had decided it's best that I contact an unnamed email account at the council called legal@Oldham Council or some nonsense, and that she'd review her decision in 6 months' time. Helen Lockwood, you don't tell me what to do. This is serious. This is unlawful. This is illegal. Maybe you guys get away with it because we're working class people and we ain't got a clue what we're doing, so you can run rings round us, sell our land to your mates, give out dodgy grants to whoever you want, knock down some old woman's house, whatever it is you guys do at the council. But no, you don't tell me what to do. I wrote to the chief executive of Oldham Council because this is unlawful. I copied in the borough solicitor because this is unlawful. And I'll continue to email the borough solicitor and the chief executive. Now, if you want to then relay this onto some generic email account, you go right ahead. But don't you dare write to me telling me who I can and cannot send an email to in the council when we pay their wages. Yeah, look at it again. Alan, if the police won't answer that because Fielding is talking out of his arse, that means Fielding has lied and made up something called Operation Hexagon. There's no way out for him here, mate. He's done. This is misconduct in public office. Liam, you ready for a laugh, mate? I put a subject access request into the council, I think 2 months ago. It's now with the Information Commissioner's Office, and in Helen Lockwood's letter to me, she claimed that my subject access request was now void because I'd not provided them with information. And she sent a copy of an email that she reckons they sent to me. They didn't send me an email, mate. They didn't send me an email on the date they claimed they sent me an email, because I got an apology back from Carolyn Wilkins' office the week after to say that they were still chasing it up. It's the thing with the truth, isn't it? And it's what I always say. It's what I've been repeatedly saying. It's what I've been repeatedly saying since I started engaging with people on this. I don't trip myself up with the truth. You've seen how I've done it today, with the copies of the emails and the Twitter exchanges and so on. So I'm waiting for the outcome of my subject access request. I don't see it's closed, and it's with the Information Commissioner's Office. But I honestly think this is misconduct in public office. The leader of a council should not be disclosing details of a police operation to a third party. You can't do that. Charlie Wong put something up. He wanted the... Sorry, let me just get my breath back, and I'll carry on. I'll just show this, okay? Carry on with this. Mr. Meir has refused to submit the evidence that he claims to have to said review and suggested that the review itself is corrupt. My position is in black and white, and once again, Sean Fielding is a liar. You're lying. The leader of Oldham Council, who was stood strategically next to Beverly Hughes earlier on this week, and Beverly Hughes is the police commissioner, which is why I am worried, because I believe in a society where the police is independent of politicians and they can act without fear or favour. I don't think him stood next to her this week was an accident. They would have known about all of this in the Labour Party. He's claimed that I've refused to submit evidence. My posts are public, my posts are time-stamped, and as they criticise me for, apparently I keep repeating the same things over and over again. You don't have to listen to me, do you? You don't have to listen to me at all if I'm repeating the same thing over and again and over and again. But what I have repeated over and over again is that I am willing to give testimony, providing that testimony is recorded and providing that testimony is in the public arena. Because I refuse to give testimony to two of Andy Burnham's mates who ask the questions they want to ask and write whatever they want to write and then put something in front of me afterwards to sign. Now, I'm not suggesting that's corrupt. I'm suggesting that's inept. Others may want to suggest it's corrupt because that's what's took place, hasn't it? That's what's took place with Kaiser and that's what's took place with Huey. And them are the only two I know about. No, actually, I don't get angry often, and you can people can see from what I've had to endure for as long as I've had to endure it. The most I get angry at is usually at a football game. So maybe that's what it is, because I can't get to a live football game. Maybe I'm taking it out this way, but no, I'm genuinely angry. I cannot believe that a leader of a council has done this. I'm in shock. I am genuinely in shock that this has took place. That is disclosed to a third party that I'm being investigated by the police. And also, he has recently been interviewed under caution in relation to this. No, I haven't. What do you think, Malcolm Newsom and Gary Ridgway? Because I know you watch this, because I know you guys have been monitoring my stuff, because you identified victims via this way, didn't you? By monitoring my internet, by my Facebook post and seeing who comments on it. You can try and lie if you want, or you can try and deny it, but I've got the evidence from the council confirming it, from one of the victims, who's launched a serious complaint about what's happened to her and how the council have engaged with her. My the team I speak to on a Thursday night at on my patron Zoom events will have seen all of that. I have the rest of it. I'm not going to show the rest of it, but because and I've blocked out the names, by the way. But some of you are mentioned in this, and I find it disgraceful. I honestly find it disgraceful. But he finishes it here, and I think I need to show you this. What is he signing this off as? Does that say Sean Fielding, leader of the council? Is that the council's address? Civic Centre, West Street, Oldham, OL1 1UT. If someone was to press on that link, website, Twitter, Facebook and Instagram, would it take you to the official council pages? Is that sean.fielding@oldham.gov.uk? The official council email address? He has done this in his official capacity as the leader of the council. The police should be arresting him. But I doubt they will. If this was you or me, they'd be arresting us. Can you imagine what would happen to any of us if we'd released a covert police operation or claimed one when one didn't exist? Would be arrested. I think what these guys have done is remarkable, and the way they've conducted themselves, Victor, with how the council have behaved towards them and how Sean Fielding has behaved towards them. I mean, let's put this in context. They didn't just go after Mark. They then went after his daughter. Isn't that right, Sean? He then went after his daughter. Harassment? Malicious communication? It's not enough for me. This is misconduct in public office. The Chief Executive of Oldham Council, Dr. Caroline Wilkins, should not be she should not be allowed to run away from this. The Borough Solicitor, Paul Entwistle, should not be allowed to run away from this. This is misconduct in public office. It's more than just harassment. It's more than just malicious communication. How, as a consequence of this, can anyone now in this town trust the police not to share information with the council? And how can anyone trust the council not to use information against them by sending out on emails when they've got a vendetta they want to pursue against a citizen of this town? But Sean had some performances this week, didn't he? So let me put those performances up. Let me get this up first. And let me start with... Well, I don't know what's going on there. I don't want it on AirPlay.
Agree to tougher restrictions in the region, he will need to intervene. That's a quote from him yesterday. Sean Fielding is...
Just give me a second. Kaiser, I'm blaming you for this because everything was working fine until you decided you wanted to call me in on Messenger from Macau on a video call where I couldn't even see you, mate. Now I've got this nonsense going on where I can't, for the life of me, work out what's going on. Okay, I wanted to play this, but it's not having it. Let's put some posts up and let me turn this off and on again and see if it makes a difference whilst I put some posts up. So let's get some posts up. Yes, Anita, so sad and unprofessional of Councillor Fielding. Just gonna... He didn't resign, did he, Paul? I think something happened with Steve Irwin. I think Rocky might know what happened with Steve Irwin. But he was found out, I think, enough. He disappeared. So I think that's what happened with Steve Irwin. Let's see if I can get it up this way. You can't see what I'm doing on the screen, but just bear with me and I'll try and... No, it's not having it. I'm afraid I have no idea what's gone on, but it's not for. It's not for playing. I'll play the one of Sean Fielding.
Well, within 30 seconds of the meeting opening, I wasn't sure what the point was, because the comment was, we either do this with you or we do this to you. And so with a meeting opening like that, well, within 30 seconds of the meeting opening, I wasn't sure what the point was, because the comment was, we either do this with you or we do this to you. And so with a meeting opening like that, you think, well, what's the point in continuing with this? It felt to me certainly like Ed Lister had been sent to speak to us in order to tell us, to deliver the news that we were simply going into Tier 3 lockdown, whether we liked it or not.
So is your impression that Sir Ed Lister, Prime Minister's effective Chief of Staff, went to that meeting with the intention of putting you in Tier 3, but then resiled from it as a result of the response you got?
From the language that he used, it certainly gave me that impression. They told us that there was no money left. So, as people quite rightly highlighted, the government spent millions on an app that was aborted, although we've got one more recently. They've spent a fortune on consultants, they've spent a fortune on the failed test and trace scheme that is not following up all the contacts that it needs to. But when it comes to supporting individuals and businesses here in Greater Manchester, to support them if they were to impose a lockdown, they tell us that they've got no money. It's just not acceptable.
That was Sean Fielding on Newsnight, and I saw a lot of people buy into the Burnham nonsense when he was stood there, and he was stood there with Beverly Hughes, I think, and Sir Richard Leese to one side, and the one council leader who they'd invited along was Sean Fielding. Now, I don't think that was accidental. I don't think any of that was accidental in terms of why Sean Fielding was sent at that time, and he's been pushing this nonsense of we don't know what Tier 3 is, and he was called out. It was called out yesterday morning on BBC, and I think Yvonne's put the link up. Yvonne, so if someone clicks on Yvonne's YouTube link, you'll see that. But he was caught part way through that, where it had become very clear that what Sean and Andy Burnham want is they want money. For them to go into Tier 3, they want money. Now, they're claiming this money is for businesses and people on the front line, but I'm sceptical. With everything I've seen, I'm sceptical. I think they just want money, and they're willing to barter, and they're willing to play poker with the lives of our people. Liverpool is in Tier 3. Some of the others are in Tier 3. And this nonsense, people need to understand this nonsense. They need to see it, because I see it, so you need to see it. You know, the same crap that they talk about racism, in the way racism here, racism there, to stop, try and weaponize it. They're doing the same with this North nonsense. Oh, we've been treated like this in the North. Listen, and I mean this sincerely to every one of us out there who are buying into this. Go to the South. Go to London. Have a look at how poor people there live. They're no different to poor people here. This is nonsense about this North-South stuff. The rich, whether they're in the North or whether in the South, are fine. The poor, whether in the North or whether in the South or the East or the West, makes no difference. The poor people are just shafted on regardless of where in the country they are. Burnham isn't fighting for the North. Burnham wants more power. And he's trying to use COVID as a political tool to gain more power, to have one up on the Tories. And I have no love for the Tories. I know my daughter calls him Boris Johnson. Or Doris, yeah, Doris Bond, and she mocks him. I think most children in the country mock the Prime Minister, unfortunately, because he's got it wrong. He's got it wrong on so many things. But that doesn't give Andy Burnham, and now this inept fool, Sean Fielding, the right to barter our lives because they want more money. No. That's what's taking place here. This isn't for the North. This is them playing with us. Yes, I agree. Anyone wants to phone me, Kaiser, if you want to phone me, give me a call on my normal number and I'll pick up your call. Otherwise, I am done for the evening. It's 8:30, 8:45, so I've been on for an hour and a half or so. I'm sorry if I got emotional, but I am not. I'm not having that. I am absolutely not having. I'm not having these people share these lies and these police intelligence this way with third parties. How you doing, Kaiser? Just 1 second, Kaiser, and I will connect you properly. So you just stay there. Sorry, guys, I just need to connect you to the Bluetooth on my phone, so I need to reset that. And I need to press a couple of buttons and... And you'll come through any minute now, Kaiser, I'm sure. Here we go. There you go, Kaiser. You're on. Can you hear me?
Yeah. How are you, Roger? Yeah, I share your frustration with the fact that the police are recording the crimes of harassment and malicious communications and giving crime reference numbers in relation to the leader of the council. I mean, there's a lot of suspicious activity. I mean, you read you've shown the public the letter that I got where it says, we've been informed by Greater Manchester Police, so this is Malcolm Newsom and Gary Ridgway, who are conducting this investigation commissioned by Andy Burnham after Mark Peel ran away. I mean, that investigation is in chaos. Because the General Medical Council has come out and said, actually, whatever Kaiser Raymond has been doing for the last 5 years, and this is only Thursday. So Thursday, the General Medical Council said, everything Mr. Raymond has done, we can understand why he's standing his ground, because he's done nothing wrong. On Friday, I received this letter from Newsom, which says, they got information that the police have said, we suspect he may be a suspect. Does that make sense to you, Roger?
I think I've shared this, Kaiser, before. You know, we had the conversation, but I think what makes sense to me is that Newsman and Ridgway are conducting an inquiry. It's not a criminal inquiry. It's a civil inquiry on behalf of the council.
Yeah.
With terms of reference, just hear me out, with terms of reference set by the council. And the police should not be feeding them information, nor should they be requesting information from the police for the police to feed them.
Well, on that, Raja, I think you need to be corrected on that. Technically, in the terms of reference, it's quite clear that Operation Hexagon and anything that happens within or related to Operation Hexagon will be reported to the Greater Manchester Combined Authority and the investigation that's taking place. So technically, that is correct. So basically, under Operation Hexagon, which Sean Fielding has referred to, I am now suspected to be a suspect. I'm not a suspect.
Suspect of what? Suspect of what, Kaiser?
I'm not a suspect. They made that clear that I'm not a suspect. What I am is I'm suspected to be a suspect. I may be a suspect. We don't know whether he is a suspect. We're just telling you he could be a suspect in the future at some time. So we suspect he may be a suspect.
So they suspect he may be a suspect, yeah?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So, well done, GMP. look, my issue has never been with GMP. I don't think your issue has ever been with
I've
GMP.
not. I've not. My issue has never been with the police. I think the politicians should have no influence with the police.
I salute Mr. Faulkner, Mr. Blaine, all of them, because they're all going to listen to what I'm saying tomorrow morning, because I just know they will. I doubt it'll get up as high as Mr. Hopkins, but I know the Oldham division will be listening to what I have to say, and you know what? Fair dues, I'll say what I want to say public. I salute the rank and file of the police. I think they do a fantastic job in protecting the public from actual crime, yeah, and not wasting their time on people they suspect to be suspects, whatever that means, right? But the rank and file of respect. You know what's going on here, Raja? What's going on here is basically violations of human rights. Operation Hexagon, if it is to monitor what you're saying, what I'm saying, and that's what we're being investigated under. And then basically what they want to do is shut down public debate. They want to shut down political debate, freedom of expression, that you're not allowed to say what you think if it doesn't fall in administration and administrations across the conurbation of Greater Manchester. So if you say anything that's going to annoy the Labour Party, you're going to get watched. You know how long they're going to how long.
Sorry, Kaiser, you're cutting off on me because you're driving and you're moving around, so that's why you're cutting off on me. But I agree with you. I completely agree with you. How long are they going to be doing this? How long are they going to continue to monitor me or Kaiser or anyone else? Because what have we done? What I've done is very clear to everyone because I've done it in the public sphere. I've questioned the politicians and the council officers that run this town. I've questioned their behaviour and I've questioned their decision making. And I've shared what I've questioned and what I've found out, which then led to more questions, with the people in my town. What part of that is unlawful? And what part of that allows the police to create some sort of code name, Operation Hexagon, that they share with the police, that they put into the terms of reference of the grooming gang inquiry? So they've put Operation Hexagon into the terms of reference of the grooming gang inquiry. And they're investigating me as a consequence of that, and then feeding that into this council-led investigation. It doesn't stack up as anywhere near being legal. This is a violation of human rights.
It is a violation of human rights, and I think I'm in court, and basically for harassing Dr. Chauhan. Now, the General Medical Council have said everything this guy's done in the last 5 years, we totally understand why he's doing it. There was a technical point to get an investigation going on the named general practitioner from Oldham, and that's ongoing. That process is ongoing. But in court, I've got a statement from Dr. Chauhan. He doesn't even deny anything that I've said about him. He doesn't deny any of it. So I said to the CP...
So why were you charged then, Kaiser? I mean, is there an allegation in there? What's the allegation in there against you?
Well, I don't know why I was arrested, right? So I don't know why. So look, at the end of the day, there came a point where we were going to have to speak about Greater Manchester Police, and I was uncomfortable about speaking about Greater Manchester Police simply because we've got no axe to grind with Greater Manchester Police. They're getting involved because somebody's telling them to get involved, and whoever that person is needs to stop telling them to get involved.
You can be the politician, Kaiser. I'm not a politician, and I'll tell you who's getting involved, because I think it's very clear to me. I think since politicians were allowed to control the police at a local level, the police are open to influence and manipulation by these politicians. And when the police give us several crime reference numbers, like they have done, and they give us several crime reference numbers linked to Sean Fielding, and I've just shared what I've shared about Sean Fielding, and then he stands next to the police and crime commissioner. I don't think that's an accident.
Look, at the end of the day, right, these police and crime commissioners, look at what this professor from, this is not me saying it, before Greater Manchester police come and arrest me for saying this, right, but this is a professor from the University of Exeter that has said this, that when they interviewed chief constables, many of them said, operationally, we can't do our jobs properly, impartially, because these idiot politicians are sitting on top of us who don't know anything about policing. And if you know anything about the Labour Party, I can't speak for the Conservatives because I've not been in the Conservatives long enough, but if you look at the state of the Labour Party, who've suspended Riaz, reinstated him. Nobody knows what he's been suspended for. He was accused of whatever, and everybody's been, talking about it. We've said what we said about Dr. Chauhan. Well, I've said what I have about him. It's all in the public domain. He's not denied a single one of those allegations, and all of a sudden claims he's the Labour Party. Look at the Labour Party internally, and then you get somebody who's sitting on top of the police, who's from the Labour Party. So what? And they're telling the police what to do. So what confidence now do you have in the police, knowing that it's a Labour politician sitting on top of the police, telling them what to do, getting involved in their operations? How much confidence have you got? Because almost every single chief constable in this country have said, we're uncomfortable with these people telling us what to do. Get rid of them. I've wrote to Priti Patel. I think did I copy you into it, Raja?
Yeah, you copy me into all of your emails, Kaiser, and I smile, because most of them I don't even know what they're about, but you do copy me into emails, and I agree with you, Priti Patel, because I've wrote to the government as well. The police and crime commissioners should be abolished. The chief superintendent, the senior police inspectors should not be accountable to a local politician. They shouldn't. It's just it opens up a can of worms because a politician can say, we don't want you to arrest him, we don't want you to arrest her, we don't like what this guy's saying over here, we don't like what that woman's done over there, and that's not how policing in a liberal democracy works.
Exactly. So a High Court judge in my case has said there's a case to answer for Oldham Council has made somebody feel suicidal in my case, yeah? In my case, because I reported Riaz, because he was being accused of sexual abuse and buying gifts for a young man. And we all know the background to that, right? So a High Court judge has said that, right? So what have we got? We've got you with police coming to your house, Paul Booth, Eric, who's been called down to the police station. You've been called down.
Debbie Cole's done the same. Yeah.
Debbie Cole has been. You tell me on the other side, in a liberal democracy where we have freedom of speech and the rule of law, you tell me how many people or officers or councillors of the Labour administration in Oldham have been called in for questioning. Not a single one.
Well, you know my position on it, because I've told.
That means their word counts more than ours. So if you're Labour Party, you're a member of Parliament, you're a councillor, you're an officer of that council, your word counts more than ours. Straight away, rule of law has broken down in Greater Manchester.
It makes them above the law, and we can't have that. We can't have a system where politicians and council officers are above the law. I remember Charles Garrity coming on a couple of weeks ago and sharing his experiences with the police when he wanted Paul Entwistle investigated for misconduct in public office. And the police officer appeared to have made the decision himself that he wasn't going to investigate it. It wasn't even referred to the CPS. You can't do this. You can't do this. It's unbelievable.
How many signed statements have they taken about Sean Fielding writing to employers of people who have all been cleared, by the way, from a guy who did not have any authority from the council? So Sean Fielding doesn't understand this. He cannot do anything on his own because it's not a dictatorship. What is it? It's a democracy. A democracy is you have to have the collective support of that council to do what you're doing. You cannot do anything by yourself. You can't just start writing to people's employers as the leader of the council, because it's not council policy. He just went on a frolic of his own because these people oppose him politically, and he made them political targets, right? And it was a personal vendetta against these people because these people are highly critical of him and his administration. That's the only reason he's gone after them. He's not gone after every other criminal in Oldham, has he? Or has he? I don't think he has. He's not wrote to people's employers who use bad language on social media, which is unrelated to him. He's wrote it about the people that are related to him who are criticising him quite legitimately, and he's gone after them.
He's targeted. Absolutely. He's targeted the individuals.
How many statements has Greater Manchester Police taken?
To the best of my knowledge, Kaiser, they are at a position where they've now got 3 individuals who've gone to them, and they've had to give crime reference numbers. Yeah, they're going to have to investigate this. I've submitted a dossier, and I have submitted a dossier from the sale of Glodic Baths to sell Sean Fielding's conduct and a whole host of other things. Now, they are going to have to investigate. They're going to have to investigate.
Has got nothing to do with what you're writing. It's got to do with 2 reasons, right? It's got to do with the General Medical Council saying, we agree with Mr. Raymond. If we were in issues, we'd probably do the same. But they've not used those words, but they said, look, we understand why he's saying what he's saying. We totally get it, right? We totally get it. This is the General Medical Council. This is a public body saying this. A High Court judge has already said, we understand why he's making these noises, etc., etc. So the GMC have taken a position, right? The other thing that's happened this week is that aren't you suing Oldham Council for misconduct in public office?
I am suing Oldham Council for defamation because I believe that the council.
The minute you get Sean Fielding a civil charge of misconduct in public office, that's going to force GMP's hand to do what?
They're going to have to investigate, aren't they? They're going to have to investigate anyway, Kaiser. They're going to have to investigate.
If Beverly Hughes doesn't want to investigate Sean Fielding, she's going to have to. So why do you think you've got 3 officers on your doorstep? They want you to shut up, Raji.
Maybe they'd heard of my legendary breakfast skills and my coffee, Kaiser, and they were just passing and wanted a cup of coffee.
I don't think so. They want to shut you up. They took me in a cell, put me in there for 8 hours. Right, and then they had a plan to keep me there for another 8 hours. No doubt they're probably going to try turning up to my house tomorrow for saying what I'm saying. But look, I want to put it out there, right? Whatever happens between me and GMP, and I know GMP will take revenge on me for saying this. I haven't got an issue with GMP. My issue is with Beverly Hughes and Andy Burnham. Why are they allowing these things to happen? Why has nobody in Oldham Council been investigated yet? I don't get it. Where's the fairness in the where's the impartiality?
Well, there isn't any, is there? I mean, I think it's clear to, it's a clear conclusion to reach, Kaiser, by looking objectively at what's took place in Oldham over the last year since we started this process. And it's not a vindictive campaign, or it's not anything malicious that we're doing. We live in this town. We're children of this town. I'm raising my family in this town, and I want a better town. It's as simple as that. And these people are disgraceful, Kaiser. These people are disgraceful.
I've got one message for Beverly Hughes. I don't know the woman. I've met Andy Burnham in the past in my Labour Party years. I don't know Beverly Hughes, but I've got one message for both of them. That is, leave Oldham alone. Allow the police to do their jobs properly. Stop intervening. If you are, I'm not saying they are, but if they are, but it looks very suspicious. It looks very suspicious the way Greater Manchester Police are turning up to people's houses. It is harassment and a violation of freedom of speech. If that's what you want to do, is silence people because they're legitimately.
Well, they've arrested you, Kaiser. So this is clear. I mean, so people, I've not shared it, but you're on now, so I'll share it with people, and you can add your 2 penny for. They've arrested you, right? They charged you. They had you up in court, and they refused to give you the evidence that they were meant to give you before you could enter a plea until you turned up, and then so they gave you too late.
So they got adjourned, and the CPS didn't know much about the case because it was a police charge. So the police didn't run it past the CPS. I got told at the police station when I turned up that the CPS have decided to charge you. Well, I heard one of them whisper to the other copper, "Oh, it's not the CPS that have charged him. We've charged him." I said, "Why are you telling me the CPS has charged me? Because I know the CPS would have charged me on this case. Because you know what? The person that you're saying is a victim hasn't even denied anything that I've said. And secondly, you've not even considered my human rights." And
So hold on. Just no, Kaiser. Just stop. Just so people can understand. Just stop for a second so I can share this bit. You were charged for sharing the truth, and the person who complained about it, Dr. Chauhan, I presume, yeah? Dr. Chauhan who went to the police, yeah? Dr. Chauhan went to the police and didn't dispute what you had said was the truth. Yeah, he didn't say he's telling lies about me. He says I don't like the consequence of him telling the truth about me. Is that my interpretation right?
Yeah, so he's not denied it, but he's saying there's things that Oldham Council don't agree with Kaiser Raymond on. Well, that you're not disputing what I'm saying about you. What Oldham Council thinks or has said in the past doesn't matter, does it? What we need to answer is what I'm saying about you. Did you lie for Reyes? Yes, you did, right? And that is something the GMC have picked up on. And I'm to be honest with you, they weren't very kind about Oldham Council and the Labour Party. So I'm not surprised you got a visit from the cops, Raja. I'm not surprised.
I still think they wanted my coffee, Kaiser. No, Kaiser. I'm laughing at the end of the day because I've got another transmission out. I believe in a democracy. If I disappear in the middle of the night, or if something happens to me, then I know that the people of my town know I've done my best. I've tried my best, and it's up to them. Because it's clear to me what's took place here, Kaiser. They have abused power. This council has abused the power. They're not custodians of our town. They're dictators in our town, and they're behaving like a dictatorship.
Yes. So can I finally make the final point? When I was in court on the 5th of October, or whenever it was, when I was in court, sorry, the 2nd of October, the CPS said we will allow an application on human rights grounds for the case to be disposed, or basically, it's called a staying proceedings. So basically means it gets thrown out because it's an abuse of process. So I put that application in, and basically the application just says, well, how can I have harassed him when he's not even denied anything that I've said? He's a GP, for God's sake. He's treating patients in Oldham, and I'm saying that he's not fit to be a doctor. I'm allowed to hold that opinion, and I've got evidence to suggest that he's not fit to be a doctor. I'm allowed to say that. It's a democracy. It's freedom of speech. So we put that application in. Let's see what happens. But I want to put it out there. The police needs to become impartial. They've got nothing to do with this. This is party political. It's got nothing to do with them. They should just stay well out of it. And Beverly Hughes should realise that, you know what, let the police do their job. Stop interfering. Whoever's interfering, Beverly Hughes, let me make this clear so it's clear. I'm not accusing Beverly Hughes of interfering, but somebody is interfering, and Beverly Hughes needs to work out who it is, and that needs to stop.
So in her role as police and crime commissioner, she needs to do her job and make it clear to the police that they are free to do theirs.
Exactly.
Yes.
That's the point I want to make. Beverly Hughes needs to make clear to Greater Manchester Police, you have to do your job without fear or favour, not impartial towards us communists or Labour Party, people. You have to be impartial. That's what she needs to say to the police, because it's not good enough that people go to complain about councillors and they just get fobbed off. Yeah.
Thank you, Kaiser. Pleasure as always, Kaiser. And I, at some point, you and I will, at some point we'll sit down and have some food together at some point, Kaiser, once lockdown's finished or whatever the laws are. But thanks, Kaiser. Thanks for calling. Thanks for persevering. I'm sorry I couldn't get the up on the screen the other way. I don't know what happened, but it was clearly a glitch. You have a pleasant evening. You have a pleasant evening. Take care. So that was Kaiser. I think it's very difficult to disagree with him on that. The police need to be given the confidence from the Police and Crime Commissioner that irrespective of her personal relationship with Sean Fielding or anyone else in the council, they are free and they should be free to go and do their job. And as far as I'm concerned, doing their job is arresting Sean Fielding for misconduct in public office. Oh, and DCI Faulkner and anyone else at the police. If I am under investigation under Operation Hexagon, or if you do want to speak to me for any reason, you got my number. Just call me. I'll come to the police station. You don't need to waste any police officers coming to my house or any of that. Just give me a call or drop me a text message. I'll rock up to the police station. I've got nothing to hide. And I definitely don't fear any of this. This is a joke. Absolute joke what's gone on. In years to come, in the history of our town, people will look back at this and think, what on earth were they thinking? Good night. Hopefully, I'll see you all next week. I've got a patron-only thing on Thursday night, which is working well on Zoom, so we'll do it. We'll do that on Thursday. And again, please, if you can, become a patron, support this, support these broadcasts, support these transmissions, and help us keep going. It's without any of you, we'd not, without your support, we'd not have got this far as we have. And stay strong. I'll see you all soon.
Do not fear them. Do not fear any of them.